going on? I guess welcome back to Tree Talk, episode 16, I think. I may have lost track of it, so on the next one, or maybe even this evening, I'll do a double check, make sure that I have some things figured out, and then I'm like saying the right thing, because it may be episode 17. I can't really remember. I'm a ways away from the screen, so I think I see Jeffrey and Billy. Guys, what's going on? We're gonna kind of take it easy for a second, ease into this. We let a few people get on, and then we're gonna do our usual what's been going on this week in tree work. I have a tip trick for falling trees, and then I'm gonna do a bit of a product review on rigging rings, which my review will be on Tylaska rings specifically and how they compare to the other kinds of rings that are out there. And we'll try to do a bit of pricing and stuff with some of them. I left my notes inside, so that's why I'm a little bit late. I had pages of notes and stuff for this, so these live feeds aren't as lazy and like by the seat of my pants as they seem, probably. I try to prep for them big time, but I'm a bit of a scatterbrain, so a lot of times I get off subject and it just goes left. So I'm gonna move you guys well, hang on. I was gonna move you a little bit closer, but let's just get into this first real quick. The featured channel, which is there. I am going to move you guys closer because I bet it's hard to even see that. And plus, I can see who's here. What's going on, John? Billy's here. That was Jeffrey. Right on. So, I found myself, the funny part is, the tip trick that I got for you guys today can be used in like a bunch of different ways. Man, I ran my ear. I bumped it on a 2x4. It's on our tree out there. We put birdseed on. I bumped my ear against it yesterday, and my whole side of my face was like pouring blood. There ain't much to an ear, I guess. I can't say I get hit in it too often, so kind of caught me off guard. Okay, you can kind of see we got rings hanging everywhere. They're all over the place. They're on the table, in the tree thing, over there. So we are going to talk about rigging rings, Alaska rings. Like I said, the featured channel is Limb Reaper. And this is a channel that, hang on, let me. We'll do this each time. So this is a channel that I don't know a whole lot about. I've been watching his stuff a little bit here recently and have been subscribed for a little bit. It popped up in my feed. He's a young man that seems like he is just getting into tree work, and like not just getting, he seems very skilled, like he's been doing it for quite a while, but I think he's trying to get out and do his own thing. So it's really cool to watch somebody as they make that transition, and it can maybe help some of you other guys that are out there that are maybe looking for a company and they're looking to do a thing where you get off on your own and do your own thing. So he could maybe answer some questions along the way for some of you guys, or you can always ask him. But I want to keep up with comments as best as I can. Not a whole lot going on, John, Billy. Okay, so Limb Reaper is the channel. He okay, I have him here. So this week he put out a solo rigging video. What's going on, Dan? They still make those big old B strings? Yeah, John, they do. And actually, they make a ring that's called the Fiore ring or Fiore's ring, and that's Giorgio Fiore. And what it is an I got it all mixed up when I was writing my sizing, so I'm gonna have problems when I try to do all this. But this is a B string in comparison to a large ring, or yeah, large, right? Let's see. I think so. So yeah, that's a large. What? Yeah. Okay. So that's the difference in size between the bigger B string and a large ring. It's quite a bit. Um, I'm going to show you why that's probably my favorite little setup right there with this extra ring here in a little while when we get talking rings. But Fiore makes one that's like double that size, and it can be used in the basket configuration in a bunch of different ways. So I recommend anybody to check that out. You can actually get the Fiore rings from Gap Arbor Supply. They sell them. So how's everybody doing? Doing good, Dan. How are you, brother? There are a couple of those big rings. Those things are great. They are amazing. They work really good, and they're some of my favorite. Just it's so light and good and safe, you know. But I'm gonna give you my impression because I feel like I looked on my timeline. And I think I've gotten about a year with the Tylaska rigging rings, and I wanted to give you guys a comparison of the Tylaska rings, which is this ring here. Now right here we have the notch rings. These are the original X rings. Where's those trash ass? Oh, these are the all gear rings right here. So I have pricing and stuff on everything, and maybe even do I have? Oh yeah, and then I have the Ben Wright ring over here, which is its own thing. But I have a bit of news for you guys that Tylaska has done, which is going to be really cool. But Squirrely John, what's going on? We're just getting into things here. So our feature channel, Limb Reaper, he puts out a video solo rigging tree work. And what he did was he was basically doing some rigging over a house. We could probably just draw it out real quick. We'll just keep things small. And this will give that featured channel a little more views. So, one goes out. Okay. So, here's like what he was working on. So we got the house here. The limb goes out over the house, and what he's trying to do is do some solo rigging. And the way he set it up was pretty cool. I mean, I think he needed a little bit more probably practice with it in the field before you go take a technique like this and try to use it on a job site. But he did good. It's just, especially when you're trying to teach yourself and you don't know the best sources out there, the first thing I did was comment, you need to look up Meta Spencer. He'll help you with all these little nuances of this technique. I feel like that guy has mastered that technique so far. So that's the guy I would go to when you're looking for that solo retrievable rigging setup. So what he was doing right here, see if I can move a little closer here so you guys can actually see it. So he was wanting to take these limbs and swing them back to here. And he was using that solo rigging setup, but the problem was there wasn't enough clearance here right over the house, and there was like an electric line, so they kept hanging on the electric line and stuff. So the thing he could have done is get a bit of a higher point, keeping that as the low end. If I'm wanting this limb to end up down here, I don't want to go and set my rigging to where this is the low end. Like I wouldn't set the rigging setup like this over to here because that's the high end over here now. You know what I mean? So if you were taking and you were setting it up like this, you've now made that the high end and there's the low end. So when that branch comes off, it's always going to go to the low end. So it's going to want to travel back here instead of drifting down this way where you want it. So my suggestion if you're doing something like that would be get your point over here first. This black marker back. So get your point over here first when you're doing the span rigging. Where's going to be your second anchor would be my first thought. And my second anchor would probably be, let's say like right there on this limb if I'm cutting this one. So then what I would do, if that's my second anchor, is I would just make sure that this one is as low as I can get it. He had it down here. I would say if he had it up here and it was running like this over to it, what's going to happen is because that's the high end, it's going to drift the limb down here, and the higher you can get it, you have better clearance. So where that limb would be coming off like that, that would be more idea, because when that limb swings off, it's going to want to drift down to the low end because this is the high end. Now, does that make any sense? I hope it does, but that's kind of what he was working on. Let's see, what did I have? Oh, yeah, and like right below it, it says, watch this guy. I guess I left myself a note of what I was telling him because Meta Spencer is below it. And Spencer put out a video called Microburst, which is a really cool video. I've never seen that explained before, but it's where like a micro, like severe storm rips through, and it's like a quick little like touchdown of like almost like a touchdown of a tornado where it just hits in one spot. Like trees were blown over everywhere. It was chaotic. But he explained it, called it a microburst, which I've never heard anybody do before. But everybody's talking about dinner. I was trying to see if it was important, and then I see I had pork chops. So like I said, I've never seen that or heard that explained that way before, and I'm kind of going to look into it, the whole microburst thing. I thought that was really cool. That was Spencer's last video, and when you're dealing with trees like that are already laying over, they can be crazy dangerous because when things are laid over, they're laying on limbs to where they wouldn't normally be under pressure. Your pressure points that would normally be on a vertical tree that's standing all change. The cuts you're going to have to make, you have to think about where's the compression, where's the tension at all times, and it completely changes when a tree goes from standing to laying over. You got to deal with it. Like now limbs up here that are laid over are holding all this weight for down here, where normally if you were up in the air you could just cut them, they'll swing over, they'll go. You don't have that now. So just because a tree is laying on the ground, it doesn't mean that it's, unless it's processed completely, it doesn't mean it's not dangerous. It can be extremely dangerous and sometimes the most dangerous. So, especially trying to cut, root balls back into their holes, release the tree and let the root wad fall back into there. So, check out Meta Spencer. He's always good for something. Like, he's always got some cool little project going on. He's just an all-around good guy. And Spencer's always been good to me. Like he's got a pretty good sized channel, and he still goes out of his way to watch my stuff and leave comments and stuff, and I appreciate him for that big time. So Spencer, another one, which I appreciate the comment from Veterans Tree Service. He pointed out we're getting close to about 1,000 videos, and we've been doing this for a long time now. So for those of you that want more content, there's an entire library of stuff. And some of my older videos are way sketchier and crazier than the stuff I'm doing now. I feel like I kind of tried to calm down a bit. But Veterans Tree Service, they put out removing nasty tree stumps. And in that video, it just showed like how important it is to plan ahead because they had to fall a bunch of trees and then grind the stumps, but the brush was staying, so they had to do them in order so that they could get the stumps and not close themselves in with all the brush that they were about to cut. So a good plan is always needed. You should always have a good like base plan, but you also have to be flexible enough to know that that plan will normally and most likely change a bit along the way. So that's just something that I feel like some guys can't. You try not to be too stubborn to where you have to stick to that plan. Like straying from it a bit is always fine. So I saw that video. Bill, you seen it? Yeah, it's a really good one. He's a smart guy. He's just really smart. I think like he's way smarter than me. I feel like. So I watch him do stuff all the time, and his just ingenuity is unreal, and I appreciate that, and I get such a kick out of it. I find it to be so entertaining. Also, J306. Jay makes amazing axes. I didn't know, but Jay first climbing saw recommend. Um, huh. Gavin, I would say. I'm a steel guy, so I would say try. Is money a major factor, Gavin? Is that important? Do you need it to be as cheap as possible, or is money not like if money's not really an object and your you have the ability to go with all ranges, that changes my answer. Because I would just tell you to get a really good saw right from the get go instead of buying one and then you end up wanting the bigger one and then so um what's the money situation, Gavin? And I'll go with an answer after that because I think Billy's onto something. If money is a bit of an issue with it, a first climbing saw, the steel 193 94, pretty good starting saw. So shout out from New Zealand. Oh wow. Well, thanks for shouting out. Dang, that's a long shout. So I still use a 194 for trimming. What's a great little? Yeah, yeah. They're good little saws, and I feel like as far as money, it's very cost effective. I think Echo is very cost effective. You could go the Echo route. Um, the option of like battery powered saws changes the game there, but that's so expensive. I'm gonna go ahead and say it because steel gives me nothing. Like I've never received any product from steel, any discounts from steel. Like they've given me a few shout outs on like their pages and stuff for like pictures of mine they used, but steel does nothing for me. I've just grown a trust in the products after using them for so many years. So I think the Mark III, that saw that I see guilty of treason using, seems like a pretty good saw. So yeah, I figured, Dan, that's what you meant. Is that Nessa Jane? Or is it Jane Nessa? Regardless, thanks for swinging in and watching. So I don't know. I would say your first saw, you don't want something with too much power. I would say if you're climbing, learn to climb without the saw. Learn to use the saw on the ground before you ever climb. Get good at using it on the ground and understand the nuances of running a chainsaw around your limbs and stuff. Then learn to climb trees. Feel comfortable in your saddle while climbing. Use a handsaw if that's what you got to do while you're up here and do some little trimming before you introduce the chainsaw. I hate sometimes that I see guys try to go from really not having any understanding of using a chainsaw to I want to climb and use a chainsaw at the same time. So they're basically learning both at the same time. It just becomes very dangerous. I mean, not that you can't do it. I mean, you can do anything that you seriously put your mind to, and as long as you're covering all bases and keeping yourself like safe along the way, you can do anything. But I would say learn to use a chainsaw good on the ground, learn to climb and feel comfortable in your saddle and on ropes, then introduce the chainsaw into the tree and go from there. There's just so much to learn that I feel like it could be overwhelming if somebody was trying to do that. So, anybody watch the Olympics? My wife's inside watching it right now, so I haven't though. Okay, I'm gonna cause a bit of ruckus. This may be a bit dramatic, but I gotta do it because it's like deep down, this is my opinion. Um, and I want to do this because I don't like the negativity in these videos. That's not what I want to do. So I like to be able to point out things that I think are wrong to maybe help someone else. But at the same time, I don't want to bring any negative attention to anybody. That's not what I want to do at all. So, but that being said, let's go back a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago. Okay? Do you guys remember the Panther bars being introduced into the industry? And I had never seen a Panther bar until I started watching some guys do tree work. They were using a Panther bar, and then they told me that you could buy them. Like they instantly went from using them to selling them. So I find that to be like the YouTuber mentality. You know, as soon as I learn something, as soon as I find something, I need to make a video and I need to get it out and I need like my supporters to buy this so I can make money off. Like I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but that's the way it comes off. I'm just gonna be straight up. That is the way it comes off. So they get introduced. What's going on, Brandon? I'm going to do a bit of a little rant right here, and then we're going to get back into the normal thing. So, Panther bars get introduced. Tons of people buy them, and they end up being faulty. They end up being very low quality, and they end up messing up quick. So, quickly, the people that I'm watching that are using them no longer are talking about them. And then, if they are, it's always negative comments, which I'm absolutely stoked that I didn't jump into that and I waited back. That's another reason why I've been recommended to buy certain products, and I say, well, maybe not. Maybe that product's not for me. I go a different route. So I've seen that happen. Every guy went out and seemed to buy these bars, and they ended up being junk. Like not good quality. And I'm sure I didn't even check the pricing on it. I'm sure they were very expensive. So that became a problem. I feel like I don't sell things to you guys. That's not what I'm here to do. Like at one point we had a company that was making shirts and they were doing it and they were giving you shirts like if you wanted them and those people ran off with the money. That is the only time I've ever tried to do anything where I sold a product to people who watch me. So that left such a bad taste in my mouth. I don't even want to do like anything anymore, which is a bummer because I feel like there are people out there that want to support at the same time, and I can't even give you the option because I don't want to do that to you. I don't want you to waste your money on something. Yeah, those bars ended up sucking. Yes, Dan, I agree. Has switched from Panther bars. Yeah, okay. So that's where I'm going, Billy. That's kind of what our Todd. Okay, what was that, Todd? No, that was Billy. Okay, what's going on, Todd? So yeah, it's a different company making them. now, and apparently they are holding up. That's what I'm saying. Can we, you guys? Okay, This is all I'm doing right now. I'm giving you my opinion on this entire situation. Just wait. Give it 6 months of these things being out there and being used. If you have exposable income and you can do things like that, I've seen some people that were really, really, really bummed out about the whole bar situation, and they were really bummed because they didn't buy stuff all the time, but when they do, they expected it to be good and it wasn't good. So the bars are now being made by a company that does have a pretty good track record in making bars. But at the same time, you can go to your local Lowe's and go buy those bars. So, like, maybe they won't have them in stock, but I promise you they'll get them for you. And that always worries me a bit. But, I mean, sometimes you can go to Ace Hardware chainsaw, so that doesn't really mean anything. So, doing good, just got off work. Right on, Todd. I treat everything like when I was a kid in a video game console here and wait. Yeah, Brandon, me too. Me too. You're gonna get it for a better price probably too. Well, that's not always true. I think some of them products that people told me to buy now cost even more than they ever did before. But that is what it is. I missed the boat. I missed the boat. So I'm just saying, I think if you're gonna recommend a product, um, I believe these are already out there, and I feel like they've basically been co-signed by. Okay, I watch a company. This is how I'll kind of do this. Let me catch his comment. D. Simikins. Love my old school 056 and 41 saw and bar. Dude, me too. Me too. That's funny. I think that's no, I don't think that's the 41. I think it's like a 35 up there or something. But so I watch a YouTube channel. It's called New Green, and they're a very small channel, but it's a really smart guy, and he shows you how to like let's see, what was their video? How to remove Husqvarna's T542 IXP clutch assembly and switch it over to a Panther bar. So at the same time, he puts on a Panther bar. He puts on one of the old ones, okay? In the video. This came out, this is this week, okay? So he puts it on, and then he tells everybody, don't be worried if you don't get this black bar, which is the old ones, because they're being phased out, and now they're being made by Sugihara or whatever, Sumari maybe. So, but he doesn't say we just be weary because the old ones, these black colored ones, are for sure faulty. They for sure are not up to the quality that you're paying for. So, but he didn't say that he's not going to sell it. So that's my concern. And maybe if you go his route, you may end up still buying those old ones until he sells enough of them that he can get the new ones now. So just know that, like, and this is solely my opinion, I think a product needs time being used. I understand if this bar has been used to cut chunks of wood and it's got 6,000 hours on it. Cool. Have you used it while doing crane work and got it pinched? Have you used it doing, overly stressed out limbs where it gets in a bind? It's like, that's the stuff that I don't think they're doing, but they're ready to co-sign and like sign off on a product that personally I wouldn't feel comfortable doing, but to each their own. I'm just saying to like my followers, maybe be a bit weary and let it play its course before you go invest yourself into it. Because I seen the reaction that these bars had originally. and I seen how many people were just gaga over it, and they ended up not being good. So I've always asked the question. I don't think I've ever gotten it answered by a bunch of guys who do crane work, because I'm not a guy who does a lot of crane work. So I don't have the knowledge in that. But I've asked many guys who do crane work. So what's the difference in a bar life doing regular tree work and doing crane work? Because they get pinched and the whole weight of the tree's setting on them at times. They get in binds. Like, things happen when doing crane work that would normally never happen with a chainsaw doing regular other tree work. So I've asked that question. I don't think anyone's ever answered me. And I've asked it multiple times, which maybe they just don't want to answer it or something. But I would imagine, just using my common sense, that doing crane work is going to put wear and tear on a chainsaw bar that no other thing will do. So I think these bars need to be used before they're signed off on and everybody goes and buys them. That's just in discussion. That's my opinion. What a catchies. I'll stick with my silky bars. Yeah, they're pretty good. I mean, I don't hear people saying bad stuff about them. It's a metal quality. So I like hearing it actually used in the field. Yeah, 100%. And here's where you can't BS it. A lot of these guys have YouTube channels, and they post on the regular. You get their content. You'll see these products being used, and after they're being used, unless they're keeping secrets from you and being shady, you should hear from other people around that are using them, and they're using them, and get the reaction, a review of this product. Why? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough about it, so I may be just saying a bunch of BS. This is kind of thing that worries me. This is the nature of the modern day YouTuber pump and dump, like, and maybe that's not the case that we're seeing in this situation, but I've seen it happen before in other situations, and I don't know. This stuff worries me, and I want everybody to be like, I want you to support the people you want to support, but just be weary and don't waste your money. So everybody may get their money much easier than me, but if I get money, I'm getting it the old fashioned way, the hard way, and it's hard to get it, and so I got to be cautious and smart about how I give it away. So thanks, Dan. I mean, yeah, I may not be right. I mean, I maybe there's information that I'm not privy to that I. That's why I feel like I don't want to go into too much depth in it, because I don't have everything. So I'll just leave it at that. The bar pinch is the same as if you were felling a tree and it sits back on the bar. Yeah, I guess maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Like, I don't. Maybe. Rarely does my. Usually, if I'm doing a tree, it's pre-tensioned. It's always got a rope in it. I'm not banging wedges. That's just. Usually, I don't get a tree setting back on my bar too often. So you may be right, man. Maybe I just don't have enough of it. So I've been doing crane work for over 10 years, and as long as you tension all the picks right, yeah, yeah, 100%. But a lot of guys are doing crane work with limited experience nowadays, and I see things being pinched and like being bent, and you know. But what's up, William? Okay, so picks right, your bar will last as long as any other tree cut, and only root will cut lifespan on a bar by pinching. Yeah, really. I mean, some tree will fail or something. something. I've seen some very, very, very skilled kids with their bar bent like this. And it was just that time, but got stuck in the cut or something. But yeah, yeah, that's the way it should be. William, I think you're 100% right. It should be that way. But, you know, like I was saying, I think a lot of guys will like this YouTube, like you have so much knowledge out there, and you can watch it, and you watch it so much that you think you know it until you get out there and you're like, whoa, and it turns out it's gonna be hard for you to be told everything. Experience is like YouTube can never match experience. So I think your 10 years of doing it is worth its weight in gold. Okay. What did I put there? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Guilty of treason. Also put out a video, huge removal. A Western. What? Huge removal was. Oh, yeah, okay. Was a real challenge. Um, I always like Jake's content. He's just very good, and there's a reason why the guy's got 1 million subscribers already, and why he's done it twice. He has a very good rapport and like personality in front of the camera, and it doesn't come off unauthentic. So he put out that video, and I'm gonna be straight. I think Randy is the Mandy, maybe one of my favorite climbers out there to watch. I really like watching, like if I'm giving my giving a top five just right off the top of my head, not having time to think about it. I'd say like Samurai Joe, the Real Finn, which I think he goes by like Timberline Tech or something like that, or Timber Tech or something. Um, Fannerman, which is Lawrence Schultz. Dan the Tree Man is one of my favorites to watch. And yeah, I'd have to say he's the other one. So the Randy is he's a smooth character. So yeah, yeah, Brandon. I really miss watching Joe climb. You know, this is really crazy, but the technique that I'm going to show you, my favorite technique for the rigging rings, it's funny because I got it from Samurai Joe. So that's everything kind of webs together, I feel like, in my life. What else did he do? He did something else. Yeah, he put out a live video. I couldn't watch it. Like it was helmet cam, and then the camera on the phone is way shakier because GoPros have a self stabilizer inside of them, and it keeps it steady even when you're shaking. So the video is kind of a little bit harder to watch. So I just like I didn't end up watching that one. I may go watch, may check it out later if I don't have stuff to watch. But he did put out another one, and it was tall backyard fur removal live. Okay, that was the live one, and this tree removal needed an entire team, and that was a fun one to watch. He had his buddy out climbing. Damn, I'm forgetting his name. I'm having a brain fart right now. But he wears the emoji hard hat, but I can't remember his name right now. He was out. Caleb. Okay, so Caleb was out climbing. They didn't have Randy on this one, but they had Mitch and they had West Coast Sauce, Gordy, and always a good watch. That was a really, really, really fun one, and Jack of all trees, he's pretty good. Oh, right on. Kevin. Okay, Caleb was close. Kevin, you're right. Yep, yep, yeah. You're. That was off, wasn't I, Chris? My bad. Okay. But that was it from Guilty. Put out a bunch of shorts, I think. I went over everything here. I'm about to get into the rigging rings. Oh, Tree Mugs put out a video, which is Educated Climber. Rigged down an oak next to a bunkie. He's just amazing tree climber. He's very stoic, calm, and chill. He kind of gives off the Reg Coates kind of persona, um, but just so good. And he showed at the end his falling a log. Well, the way he fell the log is going to help me with my trick tip here. It gave me the idea actually. A lot of times when you're falling a log, if you get down to the last bit and maybe you have some stubs and stuff, you can leave stubs on the back side of the log. Just make sure the front side of your log is flush. Because when it hits the ground, you don't want to punch holes into the ground. So that's what he did. Ended up landing nice and flat. No damage to the yard. No big holes and stuff. Seattle Tree Care put out a video. Those guys are amazing. I love watching their stuff. The always gray outside, like rainy weather, the terrain they deal with, the weather is the worst. Like, I don't know if I can do it. It's very depressing almost. The fact that they can do it on the regular and he seems to just still keep that spunk to him. Seattle Tree Care, amazing channel. Surprised it's not bigger. The amount of equipment and upkeep that they have to do on their equipment is unreal. And with them, you'll find a video where they're like hauling logs with a boat, like crazy stuff. It's out of the norm stuff, especially for most of us. So I like watching August climb and Damien as well. Right on. Oh, Reg, man, he's very knowledgeable. Yeah, you know what? Reg should have been in my top 5. So, Nick Pixel, another buddy of mine. Nick doesn't do a whole lot with tree work, but he loves chainsaws, and is just a great human. He put out a video for anybody that's interested. Don't buy a battery-powered golf cart without this. He showed how to do a 48-volt club car battery swap. So check Nick out. He's just a good dude, just a good human. So anybody who just likes family kind of content, electronics, stuff like that, Nick puts out very intellectual content. So you can always go check him out. That's Nick Pixel TV. Then we had Jeff Schroeder. He did a video ending the week with a fun job. And then he did the expert's guide to cutting trees quick and safe. Jeff's a good climber. It shows though that you got to have a good plan to get going. But as soon as he showed up, when his other buddy got there in the last video there, they ended up changing their game plan and did it completely different. But that's the way this game goes. If you stay too stubborn and stick to a plan, things can go wrong. You show up, you got a plan to fall on a tree, and it turns out it's a windy day, and it's blowing in the wrong direction. You end up climbing, rigging, whatever. So you got to be flexible. So, Chris, what's going on, man? How you been? After that, there was the Nations Climber. He did a dead pine next to a home. Don't break the stone wall. And once again, falling a tree flat. And also making sure that you got the stubs off or any branches when you go to fall a tree because it's going to cause damage. So that's it, I think, for like our channel news, like people that I watch, videos that I've seen. I'm going to catch up on comments and I'm going to show you the trick tip and I'm going to show you a few little nuances with it. And then we're going to talk rigging rings and then we'll end it. So, and I'll talk to you guys for a bit, but I wish I had more time to watch more videos. Just crazy busy all the time. Dan, there's nothing wrong with that, man. You can only watch what you can watch. The video realm of tree work is oversaturated. So if you're not getting views, it's because everyone's doing it nowadays. If you're putting out videos, that's the way it goes. But you don't get these new awesome channels without stuff like that happening. Good to see you too, Chris. COVID Crotch 19. What's up? That is a funny name. Did my eyes playing tricks on me? Is that right? Yeah, okay. That's funny. Michigan Gun Day Outdoors. I climb with a 201 and 362 is my biggest. Still use my dad's old 08. That's awesome. You, Michigan, you are talking about two of my most favorite saws in the world. The 362 is probably my favorite saw when it comes to anything of any size having to be cut. And I absolutely love a 201. I've never had issues with 201. It's always been amazing. And I got mine a long, it's over a decade on it of just use and abuse, and it's still the daily user. So, Michigan, do you do like gun content on your channel? Because I heard that now the rules are changing for YouTube, and like people are getting in trouble for they're gonna get strikes if they show guns and all kinds of stupid stuff. So Peter Shea is pretty good. Peter is very good. I think Peter must be on vacation or something. He's putting out videos like the Rocky Mountains or Colorado, or I haven't had a chance to catch up on him. I had to do just the tree work ones because I was behind. So 201 gets a little heavy, but 192 was my old climber. Try the 150, and if you get a 150, do a port, not a port, but do an opening on the exhaust. The saw is an amazing saw, but it's air restricted like crazy for the admission stuff. So I would pop the spark arrestor and put another hole in the muffler to allow more air to get in and out. So it just changes the saw completely. So I do have some old videos of blowing up cars and titanium. That's funny. Yeah, that's crazy that they don't get much views. But I'm hearing like a lot of stuff with anything with guns is getting ready to get cracked down on big time on YouTube. And some guys like and people out there make a living. This is how they make their living. They show people how to use guns safely. And now because of some foo-foo boss somewhere, even the sight of a gun can't be allowed. So just one of them weird new steps that the platform's taken that I don't agree with again, but I have no say. So let's do this. All right. What did I do with my rig? Okay, guys. So let me just tell you. First, I'll tell you what I got myself into the other day. And then we can use that as an example to go from there. Ah. Okay, you can see that, right? Yeah. Wrong way. Okay, so we were doing this really like big I think it was maybe it was a maple, but it was so like you could tell it was crazy dead in it, and forked out a few times, had this crazy back weight on it. So the problem with it was, as we went to, well, like there was a house here, nothing but like windows. Like they legit made the house out of windows. I don't know why. And it had all this back weight, but this stem right here actually was much bigger. And it curled out really nice there, and then one up and did its thing up there. So when we went to fall, we needed to fall it this way. The problem was they had a sidewalk that went through here, and it was made with bricks from like the 1700s. This is like a historical area that we're working in this little town. Actually, for anybody who knows, the Bonne Terre mines in Missouri are like world famous. So this is right next to the Bonne Terre mines. These bricks right here are all separately spaced out and put into a sidewalk. Then you have the road out here. There was a weird stop sign for some reason, like right out here, which I don't quite understand why. And it was like a fork in the road. So we needed to fall it. I never wrote stop upside down before. So we needed to fall this way. And but we couldn't touch these damn bricks because I knew they were going to bust apart. So what we did in this situation is we actually used that spot right here. Let me just color that in because it's driving me nuts. We used this piece to our advantage. Normal cases, if I was going to tell you to fall this tree, I would always say take this off. But in this situation, the way it went, it kind of had a big flare right here and it went up. I'm going to use this piece, and as it falls over, I'm going to use that, and it's going to hit right here, okay, out in that road where there's a road coming here, and there's a road going like this, and they kind of meet. So I want it to land right out here on the other side of the stop sign, and I want this to hit, to take the impact. So as this goes over, I put a notch right here. As it goes over, this is going to hit right here, which is going to bridge this across, and it's not going to put the impact of this onto the bricks. It's going to take it here. But I need to let this thing stay on the stump so that the butt weight doesn't drop down and hit this. But this curls enough, even if it does that, there's a little bit of a hill right here off the sidewalk. It still should bridge over it as long as this is the first thing it hits. The tree doesn't twist or do anything weird and had a bunch of back weight. So what we did was, I didn't grab, it's completely dead too, but it's massive. So I ended up tying up into this center stem, and then we pulled out, it did what it was supposed to do. We put some plywood, a couple pieces of plywood down to make them more as one. But this, at this situation, this limb right here was everything. That's what made this entire situation work, is this one limb. Now, I'm going to give you the tips and tricks here and show you what I mean when I say you want to land a tree flat. Well, I have a little trick that I use in those situations where you got a tree that you don't want to, like, let me talk to you guys. Let's see. I have heard that about, guys, I watched Cock 45, old dude that shoots, and he just made an announcement on the gun rules. Yeah, I watch Oompaville. I think he's hilarious, so I don't know. I wouldn't think a lot of tree guys probably watch him, but I think he's funny. So, alright. So if you're doing a tree, and you're going to fall it here, and it's got some flares out here and out here. So you got this tree, all right? And if you were going to take this tree and fall it this way, my suggestion would be to go up and take off that limb and that limb. Maybe you want to leave this one because it's giving you forward leverage, but sometimes you almost want to keep these. But if you're going into a soft yard, you don't want to slam these pieces into that yard because these two are going to touch first. They're going to dig huge holes into the ground. So usually you would just make sure that you got these two limbs off. So now, and you flush cut them. Now when that tree goes to fall over, the contact points are there, which are not going to stab into the ground, and here. So that's normally what you want. But let's say on this situation right here, you got a tree that just grew weird. And for some reason, it just grew heavy to one side. Doesn't really make any sense, but that's what it did. Put another limb there. Okay. All right, so you got this. See all this weight here on this? You still want to fall it this way, okay? Let's say we still want to fall it that way, but we got all this silly ass weight back here that's stopping it. The tree's actually leaning this way and it's weighted this way like crazy. So if you want, you cut these limbs off again. What would happen is now you've taken all that weight that's helping you, is giving you a little balance. It's gone. Now it's super weighted back. So instead of doing that, my recommendation would be go up to the tree. On each one of them, where the flare comes out on each limb, I'll show you here. So you see where these flares come out right here on these branches? I would go up and I would do this here and here and maybe even there. But this is what I would do. Here's the tree over on this side. There's the flare where it comes off. I would undercut it to a little, maybe over halfway. So then what's going to happen is as the tree comes over, when this hits, it folds up with ease. It doesn't stab a hole, it folds upward. So I would say I would go to this tree and I'd make me a few little undercuts, like, or no, wrong side, my bad. Little undercuts there, little undercut there, little undercut there. Okay. So now when this thing comes over, I go up, do all that, set the rope, make sure I get it exactly where I want. I would probably go around this back one and lock it in with this so I can try to pull those two together and get it to go over. But I would leave these as helping weight to help me pull it over, and I just make little undercuts on them like I did there, and it would come over. And what would happen is these branches would all fold up instead of stabbing holes into the ground. So it's just a good little trick to use. I mean, massive trees, you're probably not going to have the opportunity to do kind of stuff like that. Sometimes I've done that, but normally if they're that big, just go up and get it situated, get it flat so you can fall it correctly. But yeah. Everything is getting to be a joke. Also made a short called Don't Crush the Driveway. Basically, you're drawing in action. Hello. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the first one there, I have that. That's all on video. It'll be coming up soon. it was funny because like just an ignorant town city worker was just being nosy, and he's like, you need to get a hold of the police officers. You need to call the officers. Dude, you don't know what we've done. Mind your own. And then as we're doing it, like, and he leaves, then a cop pulls by and like starts getting all excited and giving us the thumbs up because apparently they've been wanting this tree down for a long time. And yeah, I don't know. That just tells you how people are. He just felt the need to. He was supervising a guy at the time, so I guess he figured we needed a little supervision too. So he tried to give us a little. I just didn't think about that. Yeah, it's just a fun little way of being able to fall things without making more damage. So you if sometimes if you go up there and you get it flat to fall it, you've now made the tree that was level and weighted correctly and evenly. You've now made it so it's weighted the wrong direction, the way you want it to go, because you want this side being flat. Instead of doing that, go make you some undercuts. A lot of times they can be done with a pole saw from the ground, and that will stop a big crazy smash from happening and big hole or rut into the yard. But at the same time, know that those little flares can be your best friend, like I showed you in my situation, where it actually gave me a contact point that I could arch and bridge the whole tree over the bricks instead of instantly impacting them bricks. So, a little bit of forethought. What am I about to do? Okay, there's the what could I how could I do this? What technique should I use? This when you come up with that decision, then you know what's about to happen. If you've done it before, if you're doing a new technique and it's like a you got to it's got to work situation, I think you're silly. I think you should practice and learn things when it's not life or death, and then use them when they come up. But that's where you should get to practice in situations where it's not dire. But yeah, that's just it. So, let's see. I tried buying one of the knockoff Husqvarna 660s. Ran great for about 2 tanks of fuel. 3 tanks blew it up. Oh, dang. Thank you, John. Thank you, brother. Okay, guys, that's about all I have for that. I got a few tips and tricks as we do the rig and ring stuff that I'll give you as a bit of a bonus. But I'm going to talk with you guys right now, and we are going to talk rig and rings, and then I'm going to end this and then spend the rest of the evening with my wife. So, oh. Let me catch up on comments. I just want to make sure I'm caught up on the comments. All right. So, I was about a year ago was sent some rigging rings. Now this is a 15-foot T-Rex 3/4 inch, I think. Let's see, 15 foot. Shoot, 5/8 double ring sling, 15 foot with 2 large Tylaska rings. This set is absolutely amazing. I like to be able to I like the super long sling because what I'll do a lot of times in a canopy is I will actually anchor it off, and then I will I will anchor at the end, and then I'll run the rest of the rope and sling throughout the canopy and spread it between multiple stems so it becomes a lot stronger, and it has the length to be able to do that, which is really nice. So yeah, they're definitely rope savers for sure. You're gonna get much more and better life out of your ropes, and what's gonna happen is it's a much more predictable rigging outcome always. A guy can become very dialed in as a rigging guy, as a groundsman, as a rope tender when he's using rings or pulleys because it's a constant. Friction on a tree is going to change from tree to tree, crotch to crotch, and you're not going to get the ability to be as dialed in. So false crotch stuff, rigging rings, pulleys, blocks. I think they're amazing. It's probably one of my favorite things about tree work. So I'm always using natural crotch rear of the low bit DRT 2 right on. Michigan, you can make your own friction saver. That's cool. Yeah, you can. You can definitely make your own. I don't like using a rope on wood. Yeah, it's a weird one, and a lot of times, like if you're rigging out of a crotch, you're burning that crotch all up with the rope. So if you're not removing it, you end up causing damage to the tree with the rope. It becomes super abrasive on the rope, so it tears the ropes up faster. And like I said, it's just not constant. So that's the part. I've seen how dialed in a guy can get when he's using these as opposed to natural crotch. So I do that with 2 ring slings to transfer the weight. Yeah, yeah, that's a great idea too. Being able to spread it out with multiple ones. So this is the only dual one that I have that was made dual. So this is Tylaska, 2 large rings on a single sling. Then I got this one, which is another large Tylaska ring. And I want you to see the difference in the width of them. So Tylaska, this is a original X rings. I don't even think this is, yeah, this ain't notch. This is when it was still just the man who made them was name on it. Before Notch decided to steal it and slap their name all over it like they do everything. But they have a better bend radius. They're thicker. They're still anodized or iodized, which is the key to them not getting constantly hot and then chipping, and they protect them, keep that wear and tear from happening so bad. Now, let me give you a comparison with these. I haven't used these too crazy much, I guess, but I mean, look at the wear and tear on these right here. Okay. And these are all gear rings, but they are not coated. So, what ends up happening a lot of times, let's see if I can find that, is you get these crazy chips out of the sides of them. They curl up. You can't like toss these out of the tree like you would other ones. They get big dents in them. But I had a chip right here on one of them one time, and it caught my rope and just ripped a big section of thread out of it. So effective, but my opinion, not the best product. I think it's a bit inferior. And I was recently checking the price, and they're way more expensive, which makes no sense to me. So we'll talk about that in just a second. But here is basically there's Notch's version that's chrome. I don't know if this is coated. I don't think it actually is. And then here is Tylaska's, which is coated for sure, and I know is a great product. So I'm kind of old school. 10 years of climbing spurs. I finally bought a zigzag. But yeah, that's the right step to make though. You're not jumping to something that's so crazy. I think that's a very natural step that you can make, even though it's weird and a bit sketchy. I'm sure you won't have any problems. Been in a tree. Okay, let's see. What did that say? Been in a tree ropes. The only way to go. Okay, I remember when I switched to zigzag was a game changer when I started to trust it. Exactly, Brandon. You said the exact right words there. When I started to trust it. So Michigan just realized that it's very normal for you not to have that trust in that product until you are using it and it's held you and you've grown some trust in it. So all of us, no matter who you are, if you got a brain to you, you're weary on a new device for quite a while. until you develop that trust. So they sent me this one. It's actually on an ultra sling, which is really nice to use. It has all these silly little pockets on it, so it's very quick to set up. I could set it up there. I could wrap it around it 30 times and put it on the bottom hole if I wanted to. But yeah, great product. I like the Ultra Sling. Guys have been telling me it's really cool to try it out. Gap made that possible. And so the Alaska rings, my opinion, I think they may be the best quality. I have not got to try the Fiore ring, so I can't say much. And also, let me give you this. This is the Bendrite rigging ring. This is a dual ring. It has two. So where that one has a double ring, this one has a double ring, but it's made into one, which is really cool. So the problem was they couldn't figure out how to do the sling and then ship it with that setup. So they sent me a ring. I come up with the idea of running it girth hitch on one of these loopies, and you field dress it real nice. And I've never had it slip or do anything. It sits in there very good. Put it on a loopy sling. So that's Bendrite. I don't think the coating is quite as thick on it, but it is coated. The trick with this one is the fact that there's two of them. You get a much smoother, safer bend radius inside here because you want this to be wide. The skinnier this is, the sharper the bend radius is going to be on the rope. When the rope comes up, goes through it, and back out. When the rope's going through here, it smashes flat. They call it the smush effect. So if this is too sharp of a bend right here, like if it was going over this, like this, let's pretend like that's like a carabiner. If it went over this, it's going to bend really, really hard and smush really hard, and it's going to give it an exact point to break at. So sharp bend radius, bad when rigging. The more weight, the worse it is. You want a much wider bend radius. A lot of guys I see, they'll rig off of a single ring. I try to keep it double or keep it spread out because you can change the angle. If you had a ring here and a ring here, I think it's fine to rig off this single one because you've changed the angle of the way the rope is running into the ring. So now it's got a bend radius of like this, as opposed to a bend radius where it goes at a sharp bend. That makes sense. So I would say check out Bendrite. I think you can get maybe at Tree Stuff nowadays. I don't know who all sells them, but I think they're a great company. Now, Notch you can buy basically anywhere. That's what this is on an Ultra Sling. Also a great product, seem to be. I would always say go with the iodized versions that are coated. I don't understand why this product, which is in my opinion far like inferior, why it costs more. So let's go over a little bit of pricing, guys. So there's a ring out there called the Fiore ring, and it's like 3 times the size, 2 times the size of the extra large ring. It's amazing. It's a solid piece of aluminum alloy, I believe, and it's completely coated and is massive. But the ring, just the ring by itself, $174.99. That's pricey for a ring. So, I do believe when Bendrite sent me this double ring, that I think it was about $100 for just the ring. They demoed it for me, so I didn't actually pay for it. So shout out to them for sending it to me. But I believe the invoice said $199.99. So when that ring becomes bigger, you get a better bend radius and you can do more things with it. You can take on that ring and you could start running stuff the other direction. Like, you know how you put ropes through your rings like this and you rig off of them? Well, in this situation, with that other ring, you can start rigging like this, like a pulley. And what you do is just put a sling in here. So it changes some stuff. It gives you more options, and you got a safe bend radius. I've actually seen where guys will be rigging for Giorgio, the guy who does the ring. It's massive. He's got a rope going through here and one going through here. So he's double rigging off of a single ring because the ring is so massive. They've opened the channels up, they've made it big enough. So check that out. It's F-I-O-R-I-A. No, Fiori. That's Fiori ring. So check that out. Like I said, but price $174.99 for just the ring. So now let's move to let's do these all gear rings. All gear rings. Or let's do all gear. Forget it. So they make a ring smaller than this one. This is the one, I wouldn't go with anything smaller than this. Because the problem with this sling, the bend right one, is that too small of a diameter of rope. You got to use 9/16 and lower. So you can't use a real big rope in this one like you can. You notice that much bigger on these. Because they've gotten a safer bend radius by taking some of that center out. Where this one doesn't. Oh no, man. So, where's my tail? What was I saying? There went all my notes up. Okay, the price. They make a ring smaller than this small one, okay? The price of it is $53.97. The price of this ring right here, $60.86. The price of the blue rings, which is the extra large, $97.44. Now this is solely the rings. This is not slings included. So now let's compare, because before we were trying to compare the Fiori ring to this, and the Fiori ring is its own thing. The reason it's so expensive is because it is the only one out there that is of that size, that is like being done like that. And it's probably very expensive to make it out of a solid piece of metal like that. So let's compare to Notch. All gear to Notch. Let's just do that. So let's see, what do we got? We got wrong one. Right here we got Notch. This ring right here. They make one smaller than this. The price of it, $27. Compared to $53.97 from All Gear. Now, the All Gear ring right here, that size, which is I believe the large. So, the large by All Gear was $60.86. The large from Notch, which I believe Notch products come with a warranty even. Notch for this one, $33. So twice the price for one that doesn't have a coating for sure. Like it definitely doesn't have a coating. I think this one may, but it's silver instead. Maybe it doesn't have a coating, and that's why they're so much cheaper. So then, All Gear's extra large was $97.44. Notch's extra large one, $43. So less than half of what the ones from All Gear cost, which I will not or can't comprehend why that is. That doesn't make any sense to me. I think the X rings were invented and that man allowed, I think, Notch to get their hands in on everything. So that's the product that has been out there and has grown the trust and has the name behind it. It's now, I guess, owned by Notch. But All Gear is like for utility stuff. Like, I've tried to get with this company, I tried to back them, but their products a lot of times are a bit inferior, and the price a lot of times is way higher, which I don't understand. So now, the big question, the thing that we want to know, and the reason I'm doing this, the comparison to all that to Tylaska rings. And I want to compare it now to those, and we'll see if at least it's in the ballpark. Is it more expensive than All Gear? It could be. Is it more expensive than Notch? It could be. I don't really know. I didn't really compare. I wrote everything down. That was it. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense why there's such a big price. 100% doesn't make sense at all. What's my mind? How you can go in between different websites and they cost way more as well. Yeah, 100% Brandon. Because what happens nowadays is that they will link. I could do this to you guys. I could just, instead of getting on here and spending all my time giving you information of these rings and where you can get them from and what their price should be and this and that, most YouTubers are going to put a little thing that says products I use. And they clip them products, and what happens is they upcharge it so that the creator gets some money out of it. They don't make them, they have nothing to do with it, but they say, I use this, and because they help link that product, they get a portion of the sales. And that would be easier for me, and I would actually make money on that. But I enjoy doing this. So, Tylaska rings, in my opinion, top notch. But there's only one store in Michigan that you can walk into and buy tree climbing or roping gear. Really? Yeah, that's the same way with me. I think. I mean, there is little places that'll pop up here and there. There was like a rental store one time that had some tree climbing stuff for a while. But yeah, we have one which is K&K, Michigan, and that's the only place I've ever been able to buy stuff. And the problem is that they sell all gear products, so I've tried all of them. I've tried all their products, and I know what's good, what's bad, and to know that I could have got a better product a lot of times for less money kind of bums me out because I didn't have that option. I had to buy what was there. So I haven't trusted the internet. So I've never been really an internet shopper. So that's just kind of is what it is. What would suck here in Central Florida? There's probably about 4 or 5. Really? Dang. That would be awesome. Because to get proper pricing on a lot of products, you need competition, price matching, and stuff like that. And when you don't have that and you have limited options, what happens is that supplier will upcharge things and really take it to the consumer. So let's compare. Tylaska rings. They make a smaller one than this. I believe. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that here's what I'm guessing. The notch one that I showed you and the pricing on the notch one, those are not coated. Just like the all gear ones, they are not coated. And I think that's why they are the cheapest out of all of them. But the price is very close. Tylaska's price is extremely close. Lacking $1 here and there. So let me give you the specs on this. So, small ring by Tylaska, $30. Small ring by Notch, $27. Small ring by All Gear, $54. So, then you have these large rings. Okay? For Tylaska, now also you get a better bend radius with these. They're much thicker. They look stronger. So, Tylaska, $40 for the large ring. $33 for the large ring from Notch. $61 from All Gear. Then you go into the large one, which would be this version. Or extra large one, my bad. So, the extra large ring, which is called the T828, is $68 from Alaska. The large one from Notch, $43. The large one, or the extra large one from Notch, $43. The extra large one from All Gear, $98. You got to head out, Michigan? Well, hey, thank you for hanging out, brother. I really appreciate it, and all the conversating. I appreciate all that. Have a good weekend, and stay safe next week. So, yeah, I think as far as being affordable, extremely affordable. I think they're the better product for sure, in my opinion. If I had to choose, I'm choosing these Alaska rings over the Notch rings, which I need to check what a iodized one would cost, because I know there's got to be a difference in price between those chrome ones that don't have the coating and one that's been coated. So that helps keep that heat down as you use them. I would go with Alaska. I love the rings. I haven't found one issue with them at all. I'm really impressed with the two slings that I have. I never had a double ring sling like this before. I love this. And I've never had an ultra sling before, and I love it. So both products, I'm so stoked to have them. And I've never had any issue with the slings or the rings. So I would recommend going to Gap Arbor Supply, buy some Alaska rings. If you're looking to buy rigging rings, check those out. They're so worth it. So let's go with a couple extra tricks. Now, if you're a guy like me, a little tight on money, and you got a couple rings, but you need a double sling. I would turn this into a double sling. It's not that difficult. Anybody could do it. But what I would do is I would just tie a circus knot in here. I would take this other ring. I would put it in there. I would field dress it out to make sure I get it good and taut. So now, what you've got, you could even set up if you needed to, but now you've got a double ring, and you could do an alpine butterfly there if you want, whatever. But now what I've done is I've taken this single ring, and I've made this retrievable, because let's pretend like this is the end of the rope if you're rigging. You're going to set your rope up through the small one when you do it, and into the big one, and you're going to be rigging basically off of the big one there, always. So then you tie yourself a knot into this, just a simple overhand knot. And what will happen is that knot right here, when you go to retrieve it, it will pull through the big one, hopefully. Yeah. Pull through the big one, and then grab the little one, and you'll pull the sling out and get it back, so you can make a retrievable sling out of it, which is a very good little trick to do. But my favorite way to set this up, you could add, like I could add this ring to any of my slings if I wanted to. I've shown that trick before. It's very simple. You would just put this on a big loop, and then you can attach it however you would like to any sling and make yourself a double one. So the way you would do that, you would just tie a big loop here. Tie. I tell you what, hang on, let's do this. Let's tie a big a big bowline, because most people know how to do that, so we're not overcomplicating things. So I would just tie that on a big loop like that. Get the ring at the end, and then you can take and attach this however you want. If you got another ring sling here, you go attach that before you set it up. You could set this other, or you could do it afterwards, it doesn't really matter. But you would set this one up by just doubling it, that loop, and wrapping it upward as many times as you can to use that up to get it at the right height. And then you're going to pass that through. And you may have to adjust that neck on this to get it the right length so that your two rings line up here. But that's the gist of it. You put that in a bite there, and then you end up with a double sling here of rings. Kind of a bit out of picture, but yeah. Wrap it up on there like that, and now you get yourself a double sling, and you could adjust that. I could take this sling now if I needed to, pop this off, and I could actually make it adjustable. I've made an adjustable sling here is what I've done. So the way I could do this, because of the way it's set up here, I can move this whole thing off like that. Then I could throw it over, and I could run it like that if I want. So it's like, you have options. You end up having options. You can really connect the slings if you need in a lot of situations to get what you need. You don't have to go buy a double one, which ends up being pretty expensive a lot of times. So now I'm going to show you my favorite way to set up rings. So I got this idea from Samurai Joe, and he used to use this all the time with the safe block. And and let me show you guys something. Here's the safe block. So that's the safe block. It's a solid piece. Now, Tylaska has now made one. The problem with this one is because of the egg shape, when you hook up into it, if you don't have a perfect sling, it will want to move and twist inside there. So Tylaska has made it so it's 3 rings carved out of the one, but they're almost right here. So instead of having to put a sling all the way around it, you can simply put a sling around this one, which ensures it's going to stay bit and pointed downward instead of shifting. So I like their idea. I would really like to try it. If that ever happened, if they ever sent me one, I would probably have to sell this one or give it away or something. Maybe I could do a giveaway. But I would really like to try theirs, because that idea of having the channels open right here so you can put a sling through and wrap it up there is awesome. I love that idea. So that's something that they're working on. Also, Tylaska has the DTR 20. It's a double ring sling is what they did. It's the width of an extra large ring, but it's the size diameter of a small or of a medium. So they've basically done the idea that Ben Wright did of the double, but theirs doesn't have that center channel where it's like 2 of them. It's just 1, and it's much thicker and stuff. But yeah, you may try that out. I think the price of that, $74.99 is what that ring costs. And it's like buying one of those Ben Wright rings, so it's a double ring. $74.99. It's new. It's one of their new ideas, I guess. So yeah, I kind of like to check out their safe block, and I'm interested in that double ring, but I don't know. I don't really need any more rigging rings, so I hate to ask for that stuff because I feel like there's other people out there that need it. So I'm going to show you right now my favorite way to set up rigging rings on like a stem. It's just my favorite. So you can rig off of a single extra large. The bend radius is better than it is on one of these small ones. So what I do, I got this. That's a homemade sling. It's just a dead-eye sling of some 10x. I think it's like, I don't know. I don't know what size it is. Half inch. So I go to the other end of the sling. I take this large, or this medium ring. I put it on. Put it down through there. So then I put a little stopper knot here because I don't want it to fall out when I'm climbing on my way up. Because what'll happen is for some reason the rope will fall down and then your ring will want to fall off. But if it's like that, it can't. So what we're gonna do, let's hook this up like below, like on this. So what I'm gonna look to do is I'm gonna put it there. So okay. So the way this works is I move the ring all the way down to the other ring. I would put like a circus knot here. So the circus knot is like a triple bowline. It puts like 3 bowline bites on it. Puts one there. It puts one there. Actually 4 there, and then one there. So now the way that's set up, I will go and I'll throw that around. Oh, the ring needs to stay over here. And then this goes over into the bite, and it bites down onto that ring. I made it a little too small. I'm going to make everything difficult on myself. Hang on just a second. I feel just a little more, maybe it'll go through. Yeah, okay. Alright, so it's set up like that. Throw it around. You could do this same thing with like a cow hitch, and it would work fine. I'll show you that real quick after we're done here. But I like to do it this way. It just seems to work easy if you're not mistaken on your length. So now what happens is it puts this at a safe bend radius with that extra ring there, and it stays in a good bite. So when it bites down, this ring is not going to dig into the tree where a rope maybe wouldn't, and it puts this at a safe bend radius. I feel like makes the sling itself stronger because you're not rope on rope. So that's a real fun, nice little technique to have. I like it. And it seems like, how the hell would I get it undone? Well, you just pop the rope off. Now that ring is loose. And you pull your ring back through. It took me a while to figure out how the hell Joe did that. Because I'm like, why will it not work? But yeah, it took me a little bit, but I got it figured out. But Joe's a wizard. And I just, like, when that guy puts out stuff, I try to pay very close attention. So if we were doing that same thing and we want to put it on a little more of a bite, you can put it through there like that. Stopper knot you may want to take out for this because it'll make it hard trying to weave it. But and you just weave it in. And once again, it's put it in a safe bend radius, a little safer than it would be rope on rope. And you twist it back, twist it back. It puts everything in a good little bite. Dress it out to make sure. But yeah, works really good. So now that thing's on the stem, it's not gonna slide. I don't know. And then I have that there to where at any point, if I decide that's not enough, I can switch to a dual. So that's why I like this. I set it up like this because it's quick. but I have the option of it becoming dual or retrievable if I need it. So, guys, I think that's about all I got. What we got on time? Hour and 40 minutes. How do you guys listen to me ramble for an hour and 40 minutes? That's crazy. Go check out Limb Reaper. Tell him I sent you. Because I kind of like doing this. He doesn't even know that I'm doing this. I don't even know if he knows I'm subscribed to his channel. So, we're just paying it forward. So, thank you guys for hanging out. I appreciate every single one of you. Know that I don't ever mean anything negative to anybody else. That's not my purpose sometimes. But my concern is to help you guys and to make sure that I don't get taken advantage of. Always, no matter what it is. So, I give you my word that I'm not the guy that's going to take advantage of you. And I also give you my word that I will try to stop others from doing the same thing. So, whether they mean to or not, it happens. Guys, I appreciate you so much. Thanks for hanging out. And this ends episode 16. Yeah. I appreciate you guys. I will catch you next time. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And have a safe week. Bye.